Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Your Morning Drive. I am your host with the most, Logan Lewis, coming to you from the Fireworks Studio in Marietta, Georgia. We're super happy to have you here. A big shout out to our friends at Fireworks for hosting us today. They offer a creative co-working space dedicated to uplifting and supporting the local community. If you work at home, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're retired, if you're self-employed, if you work from home full-time, whatever the case may be, if you're tired of working at home, if you're tired of your spouse, your dog, your kids, your neighbors, if you just need a change of scenery, you can try this space for free. They will give you a free day pass if you come to the space. Tell them Logan from the podcast sent you. They'll hook you up with a day pass that you can try the space, meet the other members, enjoy the amenities, enjoy the staff for free. You have nothing to lose. So go ahead, come meet them in person, check out the space for yourself. Tell them Logan sent you. You get the day pass for free. Or if you book them online, you can use the code DRIVE at the checkout page and they'll hook you up with that day pass as well. Before we dive in, please, wherever you're at right now, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that follow button, whatever the case is, so that you can guarantee that new episodes are delivered to your phone every Wednesday without missing a beat, so that you're all in on all the episodes and you don't want to miss them, especially not this one. Of course, you can follow along on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of those fun places. You can listen in and follow along for clips, sponsor information, behind the scenes stuff, information about me, everything in between. We do it here on the social medias. Everything is at Your Morning Drive. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Let's go ahead and dive right in. My guest today is a seasoned leader with over 3 decades of experience in several
in something.
in a few different places.
Something.
A former U.S. Navy journalist. He blends communication expertise with a passion for community service, investing his time in outreach and leadership through local ministries, shelters, and civic programs. Please welcome my new friend, Tim Abbott.
Thanks, Logan.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah. I'm not sure over what yet, so we'll see. Hey, I'll chime in. What is the name of the co-working space?
Fireworks.
Man, I'll chime in on Fireworks. Like walking through there, like it's a wow experience. It is so well done. Like I mean, I don't even know these people, but like I agree with you. If people are looking for like, it's a good vibe. Like I just first time in there, like I could work here, I could get stuff done here, and in a good vibe and enjoyable. Like it was a good place.
They've got something for everyone. You know, they got those little,
I
the
saw
little
that.
phone booths. So if you need to take a private conversation,
A kitchen that I want in my house,
right?
you know, and,
Great events, but
yeah,
a great event space.
yeah,
I
like
hosted
a
an
common
event.
area over there with the couches and the glass windows, and yeah. So, anyways, I agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
what a cool space.
They're a
So,
great space. They're a great partner of the show. They've supported
yeah,
me for the last year and a half or so.
yeah,
And so I love shouting them out. Of course, it comes with its perks at times, but
yeah,
you know, I don't like to talk about products and things that I don't enjoy myself personally.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I hope the people will know by now that
You mean you don't want to be a hypocrite?
I don't really want to be. And you know, Tim, as I've grown up, I've found myself a hypocrite sometimes,
Oh,
especially about the stuff that, you know, I yelled at my parents for, be like, I would never do that as an adult.
I
And
worry
then
about the people that say they're not a hypocrite. I'm like, come on now,
right.
let's be authentic.
You mean
There's something.
you mean you've never contradicted yourself?
Yeah. Hey, if we talk for an hour or so, I'll probably catch myself somewhere along the. So for the listeners that like to do that, they're like, got him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So just email me, but that was a nice intro. I never know what to do with those things. So thank you, nice intro, and you're a delight to meet too. I mean, you're easy to talk to, you know. So
Well, that's nice to
we
hear.
had our, I don't know, it was an impromptu, unplanned, brief meeting or at Southern Cove, and like you were just like easy to talk to. Like I know why you do this. People probably like telling you their stories, and you like listening.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. That's definitely something I strive to do. I grew up all moving around a lot, so I constantly had to reintroduce myself, make new friends. So I mean, I wasn't in the military. My dad did, because that's the first question most people ask is, "Oh, you're a military?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Nope."
Nope.
Commercial construction. My father works for a company that's built some pretty iconic landmarks over Atlanta, but also across the country as well. Apple's headquarters out in California, they built Mercedes-Benz Stadium, World of Coke, a bunch of Atlanta landmarks that people driving through the city have definitely seen. A bunch of data centers for, insert tech company here, Facebook, Google, Apple.
Yeah.
So they've done a lot of work, and so that made us travel a lot growing up. Had to make new friends every 2 or 3 years, which sucked at the time. But in hindsight, it's gotten to me this place where I can walk into a room and make friends with at least one person.
Yeah.
And you just happen to be that guy.
You were with your wife too.
I was.
Yeah.
And she's learning how to adjust to me because she, grew up in one place and never moved until she moved to Georgia. She grew up in Nashville. And so she is always like, whenever we enter a room, she's a little overwhelmed. And I'm just like, all right, be right back. And I'm just like pinballing.
Did we talk about that?
Maybe.
Did we? Because it's amazing how we marry people. Like my wife's the same way.
Yeah.
Very, very good upbringing, very conservative, solid parents, and like you and I are the same. Like if we go into a room, like we're just gonna figure it out, and if we don't, we'll bring the room with us, And Lisa, my wife, she's like, "How do you know these people?" I'm like, "I don't."
Yeah. I don't yet.
But we will, and that doesn't necessarily bring her energy and joy. It's not that she dislikes people, but your story just hit me like that. How we marry or we gravitate to people who are going to anchor us in a different way, and we lift them up in a different way. And once that marriage learns, like, I'll celebrate you, you celebrate me, and we learn how to do this together, not against each other. Like, man, that's just a fascinating life. And you don't get there immediately. I don't know what your experience is. I've been married 27 years this November, but we got there, but it wasn't immediate. And it wasn't always easy.
Well, I can't say I've been married for 27 years because I am 27 years old.
Oh my God!
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I saw an opportunity for a joke and I took it.
Actually, I was going to believe you.
Well, I'm 29.
That is amazing. Yeah. I feel older. I feel older.
Sorry about that.
Nah. I think if you do life well, that's a big statement. So what's well? But if you do it well enough where you're constantly building into your authentic self and learning and taking risk and getting hurt, but then coming back, then getting older, like it's not bad because I'm going to steal a line from a Marvel movie.
Okay.
The end is part of the journey.
This is true.
Tony Stark, said that. And so no reason to fight the end. Getting older to me has been freeing and feels good and feels right. Yeah, I actually look forward to the next year, the year after that, and let's see what it has. Life feels slower, which I like. I didn't think I would.
Yeah, I like to think that a lot of people don't think that they would, because a lot of people associate getting older with, oh, you're getting closer to the end. And I have found myself, even just in my late 20s now, really looking forward to my 30s. Because I hear the 30s are the new 20s, and that people really find themselves, they kind of discover who they might be in their 20s, and in their 30s, they kind of know who they are, and they get to build off of that. That's what I've heard, at least from other fellow 30-year-olds. Who my wife is now a member of the club as of yesterday.
Congratulations.
30 years old woman. It gets worse from here.
You keep talking like that, you might not be able to go home after this airs.
To sleep on your couch, Tim. But that's just the burden you're going to have to bear because you're the one that's here with me today.
That's right. Yes, I'll take the way. 30 for me was the awakening. So everything that you read there didn't even start until I was 30.
Really?
None of what been doing, I'm 60 now. None of what I've been doing the last 30 years was ever a desire, a dream, ever thought of. It was an awakening. Here's how I describe myself. 1995, I was financially bankrupt. I mean, just bankrupt, had nothing to show, no money in the bank, nothing. I was spiritually bankrupt. I had no belief in anything, didn't care about anything, didn't think any of it mattered. I was emotionally bankrupt. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was pretty much mad at people. I had 2 divorces. I had a son that I wasn't getting to see because when you do stupid stuff, we have rules and laws, stuff like that. And I was mentally just bankrupt. I had nothing. I was just there. And 1995, by 1996, I was worn out, and I decided to, it's an irreverent thing to say, but it's the truth. I thought, well, maybe I'll try on God. Does any of that story really, really, real? I believe, Jesus and the birth and Christmas and all that. But I thought, you know what? My life sucks. I was
Wow.
angry. I hated people, had no money, nothing to
Just
show
mad
for
at
my
the world.
time in the Navy. Yeah. And, and it was one of these things where people, I'm not the only one. I came to realize I was the common denominator, right? Like I was the one.
You're the problem.
And I walked into Eastside Baptist Church in Marietta, Georgia on a Sunday night in September of 1996. And literally just the thought, I'll just try you, God. I don't know. Are you real? I'll just try. Like nothing else is working. So this part can't hurt either,
Right. Right.
I didn't think it could. I walked in there. This is just how messed up. I saw a blonde-headed woman and her back's to me. She's sitting in the pew, right hand side. I remember it. And I thought, oh my gosh, there are pretty women in church, just like in Buckhead. I'm going to get her,
You're
like
like,
so carnal in
yeah.
mind.
Okay.
So I went and sat down right next to her. Could not wait for the preacher to shut up so I could start asking her out. Don't even know what he was talking about. She had nothing to do with me, nothing to do with me. I wanted her to go to the ice cream social with me. I could care less about a church ice cream social unless they were serving bourbon, but I wanted her to like me and go. And so that was a no, no, no. And she said, if you ever want to see me again, just come back to Sunday school. And I thought that was stupid. Little kids go to Sunday school. That's what I knew in Sunday school.
Sure.
Little kids go to Sunday school. But I spent that entire week like just thinking of her. Like nothing was satisfying me. Nothing. Like I just thinking of her. So I decided to go back, Logan, and here I am, the November of this year, 27 years of marriage to her.
That's the girl?
That's the girl.
Holy hell.
And if you put Lisa in a separate room, like on the cop shows, she would tell you the same story, but she would make me sound worse because I was. Because I was.
You walked into that church and said, I was here to find God, but I found a pretty woman.
Let me get a pretty woman, just carnal in mind and stuff.
Wow.
But
what a love story.
Yeah, and it took a while. It took a while. She's a wise and strong woman. She made me go to counseling before she would date me.
Probably wise.
Oh man, it was another turning point when she did that. Like, I thought, okay. I mean, I was really attracted to her to do all this instead of just.
You must have been like in your head, like
yeah.
this is the woman for me.
Well, yeah, she was showing me something that women hadn't shown me, but it wasn't so much about that. I think I know now that God was getting my heart ready for different if I would open my heart, that he was getting my heart ready for different, to live life differently, to these things that we'll talk about, to do these things that I'm doing. I'm nobody's child genius. and she knew what she didn't want, and she knew what she did want, and that first counseling session was horrible. He talked to her, then he brought me and talked to me. He comes back out, in the lobby, and just her and I is at the end of the day, and he looked at her, and he said, "I wouldn't date him,"
In front of you, he said that?
in front of me.
Wow.
And man, my heart broke. I knew he was right. He told her, he goes, "He's got so much he has to unpack. And if he'll let me, I'll help him, but I wouldn't date him." And man, my heart broke because for the first time in my life, I was beginning to realize that I was broken, but worse, I didn't know what to do about it. I was unhappy. I had nothing to show, as I just told you. A woman that I'm attracted to, like, wise enough now. Back then, I thought maybe she's just a little loony, making me go to counseling. And so, I said, "I'll come back and do therapy with you." And he said something to me in therapy, and I'll end the story here, that began to change my life. Because you dwell into your past. How did you get here? Blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Feeling all that. But he said this to me: "Do you want the legacy that God intends for you, or do you want the legacy of the past?" And man, just a champion rose in my heart. Just right. That statement alone, that I could create a legacy, like that there was something out there that I could go create, something I could go do, that God had something for me. And I still really couldn't describe God again. I wouldn't say I had a strong relationship with them, but I knew I didn't want the past. And when that man said, "Or you want to create the legacy of your future?" And I was like, "Yeah, that." And just champion rose up and the journey went on.
Wow. All right.
Was that way off where you were going?
No,
Like,
you answered the question before I even asked it. But wow, I mean, what a powerful. So this woman, your wife, Lisa, right?
yeah,
Lisa,
Lisa, yeah.
she not been there in that church on that day,
Yeah.
on that night, where would you be?
Yeah.
Do you think about that sometimes?
I really don't, because I, so I really don't, just because I believe that it was the intention of God
Yeah. It was the
for
fate
me,
of the universe.
to, like, show up there that night with her there. I believe it was intentional. So I haven't never spent any time on, like, "Oh no, what if she wasn't there?" With that, because that really began to lead me right into, like, so what's a relationship with God? What does Jesus Christ really mean in our life? And when I say that, like, my life, and this is, like, what we're talking about, took years, but stop being so transactional and become transformational. And like everything I do now, I want it to be transformational. That doesn't mean everything has to be big on a stage or some sad story or some joyful celebration, but relationships, like transformation. Like, even if they're brief, that we've shared something meaningful, and even if it's a laugh or a joke or a celebration at a concert, but we're enjoying life, and like it's a gift, you know, to enjoy it. Or if we run into heartache and we have to walk through that together, there's transformation in that too. We learn from our pain, our mistakes, and we learn from walking in pain with other people. It's transformational. And, I don't want to overplay it. I'm a human being. I sit down at night and watch at least 1 hour of stupid TV, something that's not transformational,
Sure.
that's, sci-fi like, but it just began to help me not to see life as so transactional. Yeah, you might be losing this moment, Tim, because you did stupid stuff. You made bad choices, and it really kind of feels like you're losing. Or you did stupid stuff, you made bad choices, but God's not going to define you on your worst day, no more than he's going to define you on your best day. He just loves you. Why don't you take the next step forward in the pain and the joy, whatever it might be, and just let him lead? And that's what just began to happen. Just over the years, I just try to keep doing that. Everything I'm doing that you read and we'll get to talk about, I didn't create the opportunity. God did, and I saw it and I walked through it. True,
Wow.
true.
It's amazing, Tim. I love hearing stories like this because I often think about the what ifs.
Yeah.
Maybe I explore it too much, but
Yeah,
I think about not even because I wish a certain thing had happened, but
yeah.
because because I know that, like, growing up, I was obsessed with history. I loved
Ah,
history
yeah,
class
oh,
because I loved thinking about the fact that if X person was not born, had their parents not fornicated and
yeah.
to Abraham Lincoln,
Right, right.
would we have had a president that abolished slavery at the
Yeah,
time that they
yeah,
did? One little ripple could affect the entire trajectory of history. So thinking about the fact that you walked into that
yeah,
church, saw that woman sitting there, and you could have said, you know what? I'm here to turn over a new leaf. I'm
yeah.
here for God. And you could have just walked right past her, Tim. I
Yeah,
can't help but obsess over
yeah,
that and
yeah,
think the fact that you just decided to sit, same with me and my wife. We met over COVID. We met
yeah.
on a dating app
Okay.
because, no one was going out anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling through my messages on this dating app and I just picked her and just thought, like, I'll send her a message. And then here we are, married
Yeah,
3 years later.
yeah,
And it's like, had I picked anybody else in that list, I could be sitting there with them right now.
yeah, yeah. Was she and she
I think
felt
I,
the same way? Like anybody else on that list?
well, she
And
said
like
I
when you guys
stretched.
got together,
She
it's like,
said I stretched the truth a little bit on a few of my fun facts about me on the
yeah,
app to make it seem like I was less this thing and more that thing.
yeah.
Uh, and she maybe wouldn't have given me the time of day had I told the truth about some of
That's
those things up
funny.
front. So she likes to make the joke that the beginning of our relationship was built on lies, but
Well,
we have fun with it.
you understand this concept. Maybe this will help her understand this concept for gregarious people like you and I is, we never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Absolutely, Tim.
I don't know if it was a lie more than it was, is it the proper use, a slight embellishment because the story needed help.
Oh, Tim, total side tangent. Lately, Catherine has been doing this thing where when I'm retelling a story to somebody, she likes to say, that part didn't happen.
Oh,
And I'll say, okay, she'll be like, you said that in that interstate pileup, there was 15 cars.
yeah.
There was only 5.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but I wanted a
Yeah.
response
Yeah.
that only 15 cars would have gotten versus
Yeah.
5.
Does she do that like in a public setting or when you're doing? Yeah, man, can that cause a fight?
Oh, could it?
Oh my
Sometimes I'll be like, all right,
gosh.
who cares whether it was 5 cars or 15 people died?
I
Okay.
know.
Like,
Well, and it's even worse. Like if you've had a story together, you and Catherine or Lisa and I,
yeah,
and I'm telling the story,
yep,
and Lisa's over here and she's like, that's not, and I'm like, I'm telling the story. And she's
yeah,
like, but that's not, like, it did happen. I
right.
remember. And she's like, and here's what makes it worse. A few weeks later, something will happen. I'm like, oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
That part maybe wasn't,
yeah,
maybe I kind of
yeah,
made that up.
yeah.
So,
Sometimes I do it on purpose.
yeah,
Sometimes I don't. Sometimes my imagination is just running with it.
yeah,
And yeah, she likes to do the thing where she's
yeah,
like, that all happened,
yeah.
except for that little detail that he stretched. I'm like,
Yeah.
that.
Listen, you hit I'm not a nerd about anything, I don't think, but I have a little bit of a nerd thing when it comes to like you said the what if. So I like to watch like stupid TV shows that really can't help you in life. So when you said that, like, have you ever watched The Umbrella Academy?
I have watched The Umbrella
I love
Academy.
it. So when you said the what if, that whole series on is what if, let's go back here, let's go there. Gosh, I guess it's been out long enough. I won't give you the ending if you haven't
Yeah, I haven't
seen
seen the
it.
ending. Yeah,
I haven't seen, but it's a great ending because it's always dealing with the what if. They're always trying to go here, change this, move this timeline. One of those type shows.
sure,
Where they're
sure.
jumping all around. So you hit that when you said the what ifs. I just never, I refer to myself as a simpleton. I don't think I'm necessarily one of the deep thinkers in life. So I don't do a lot of what if stuff. I'm more of a dreamer. So if you've ever done Enneagram,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm a 7, an enthusiastic visionary. I get excited about new things, and the old things that were old were just there. I'm glad Lincoln was there. I'm like
Yeah.
whatever president we have, that was
Yeah.
fine. I don't spend a lot of time. I spend a great amount of time on how might we do this? How might we envision this?
Sure.
If we were going to draw up this happy path, what would that look like? Who do we need? What needs to be involved?
Right.
Who are we impacting? How are we helping? Will it be transformational when we get done? And we just got to do these transactions until we get there. I spend a ton of time on that.
And it sounds like, well, first of all, before I even say that point, you and I knew from that day, Tim, that when we were met at Southern Cove, that I had to get you in here to talk to you, mainly because I wanted to feel validated, because you and I are the same. We think.
Well, I
exactly
sense that
the
in the way
same.
that we're talking.
Because, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
And judging from what you've said about Lisa so far, I'm going to assume that she's the one in your relationship that pulls you back down and grounds you. Because I do that too. I'll get home from these, when I'm spending these long afternoons in the car some days during the week, I'll get home and I'll be like, man, I was thinking about this thing. And what if I took the podcast and did that with it, or did this? And she'll be like, that sounds cool, but have you thought about this? And I'll be like, yeah. She's the realist and I am the dreamer as well, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think we need those. We can make, false gods, if you will, too much of our identity. What we do, what we desire, how we make our paycheck, how we have fun. We can kind of make those, and having people in our life, married or not married, having people in our life, you and I, that do that say, sounds like you're chasing something. Are you unhappy with what's going on right now? Like you're trying to fix something? Like, I don't know. Have you thought this through? So it really grounds me, but it's a two-way street. Catherine's your wife?
Yeah.
You probably lift her up in ways where maybe she talks her way out of taking a next step. So Lisa can talk her way out of taking a next step or something. And I'll be like, no, like I can see you doing that. I could see you taking that step. And so we work on it with each other. And, we were talking about marriage because we're married, but it works in friendship and friendship groups too. You don't want to hang out with a bunch of people who are like, you'll never make it.
Right.
Like, that's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
You need some people around you to say, sounds good. Let's talk about some of the details.
Yeah.
Like, sounds like you got the end figured out. Can we talk about how we get there?
Yeah.
We need those friends. So
I've got a good buddy that will ask me, I've come to him a couple times with ideas, and he'll be like, where's that going to go?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, you're right. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm real big on, if you want to do something, create a vision and a mission around it to help guide you. You may have to change it, as it morphs, but like, if you're going to what's the vision, if you got really big, what's the vision for your life? What's the mission for your life? And it acts as an anchor. And it's not overly complicated. Some people have, love, laugh, and live, type thing. Okay. If that's what you're doing, at least that's how you want to live your life. So I kind of started us off probably in places you didn't want to. I really can't talk about my life and don't talk about my life without God and Lisa. And I know that might seem weird, and she's certainly not a God, and I don't put her on a pedestal. She's fallible. But it literally just changed me. Like, how can I not just kind of be who I am? And I spent most of my life there. No religion, no belief in Christ, no faith. So when people don't believe it, I get it. Like, either you don't want to go down the journey, or you went down the journey and decided it's not for you. And I always just say, I'm open to talk about it, right? It's not I'm right, you're wrong. Let's just talk.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the best way to tackle it. I struggled a lot growing up with religion, mainly because I grew up in the Catholic Church.
Sure.
And, church as a Catholic person is not fun. I'll put it that way. It's not like, I've been to, now me and my wife will go to North Star Church in Kennesaw.
Oh, I know.
With Mike Lynch and all those good people over there. But in North Star, like a lot of modern day, Christian churches, they're more, I guess I'd say modern.
Yeah.
There's not a guy walking
Evangelical.
in, right? There's not a guy
Evangelical.
walking in holding the Bible up
Right,
like
right,
this down
right.
the aisle. Nobody's humming around him. As a kid, I thought the Catholic Church was a cult. It
Yeah.
felt culty as a kid.
Are they, non-denominational?
Yeah, they
Probably, yeah.
they say as long as you love Jesus, come here and worship with us, and
Yeah,
we'll have you. And I like that because church to me growing up was this hour, sometimes hour and a half if
yeah,
it was Easter or Christmas or
yeah,
whatever. And it was just so painfully boring. And as a
yeah,
kid, I resented it. And my parents were like, "No, you've got to go to church. You have
yeah,
no choice. You have to go to church." So I built up a resentment towards it for the longest time. But when I started going to when I started dating Catherine, she
yeah.
said, "Church is really important to me. My faith is really important to me."
Good.
And I said, "That's great. I'd
Yeah,
love to go to church with you." And she was like, "I've been thinking about trying this church, North Star." And one of our mutual friends had been going there for years. And he said, "Oh man, you should come. You'd like it."
yeah,
For those who people go there all the time that grew up in in one religion, but wanted to believe, but didn't know what to believe
but
in.
yeah,
They help you. Their whole slogan is like, they help everybody find their way home. And yeah, we
I
found a
like
good
that.
home there. Yeah, it's a good spot, but I struggled a lot with religion for a long time, and I would say,
Yeah,
well, how can I sit here and believe in this
yeah,
thing that I can't see, that I
yeah,
can't touch
yeah.
or smell, or even I know that, I've learned over the years that God makes himself known in different ways rather than
Oh,
physical.
yeah.
It's one of those things
It's
that I struggled with
amazing.
for a long time.
Well, it's amazing. First of all, listen. I don't know that Father Kevin will ever listen to this, but just in case he does, one of the things I get to do now from time to time is support my friend Greg Free. He does funeral home consulting. Like he's just one of these guys. We were talking about calling, vision, mission. He just knows it. He's been in the funeral business his entire, career, and he's so good at it. Well, he calls me from time to time to assist because you need people there, hospitality, guide the family, and you want people there that care, that like they're going through something. So today I got to be with him for a family that was mourning the loss of a loved one at St. Francis in Cartersville, and I met Father Kevin. Incredible.
Really?
So I don't have, like you, I went to a Baptist church when I was elementary kid,
Okay.
and you have your memories of the Catholic Church. I have my memories of a overweight white guy with a shirt, his neck bulging out and his face red, yelling about, hell. And that's my memory of it.
Yeah.
And I got turned off, so when I got old enough to rebel with my grandmother, and sweet as she was, but I'm just like, I ain't doing this anymore,
Right.
like, because I don't get it type thing. And I think churches, not all of them, but I think churches are. I'm like, Father Kevin today was like, he was amazing. Like, I didn't know what to expect. So I'm not a church historian. I don't have bad things to say about the Presbyterian, the Baptist, the Catholics. I don't know. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I leave
That's
it.
it.
I leave it there. No matter where I am, I just leave it there. I know who he is. He knows who I am. I know his promises. I know his love. I know his forgiveness, his mercy. So I don't. But I didn't know what to expect in the Catholic Church today, and there was a lot of boy. They have words for it that I'll mess up. Logan, I'm not even gonna try it, but they just have things that they do.
They
They're
do.
very traditional and stuff. But let me tell you, since we were talking about that, Father Kevin, like you would want him to preach your going home service.
Sure.
He was caring, loving, animated, at times spoke right to the heart to those family and friends. And I was like, oh, this is like, because I like you, I didn't know what to expect. So I just tell people when I invite them, I go to Crosspoint City Church, but I tell them when I invite them, I'm not really inviting you, just come and be a Crosspoint Cityite, whatever it is. Like that means nothing. The walls of Crosspoint will fall. The pastors of Crosspoint will cease to exist, right? All of that stuff will go away. It's all go away. I'm inviting you to experience God, and I hope that's what happens.
What's been jumping out at me to say is that the walls will fall, the priests will, or, the
Yeah.
pastors will cease to exist.
Yeah.
Those are all finite, but God is infinite.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell friends and people I'm encouraging to explore God, have a relationship with God. I can't make you. That's on your own. Like, hey, if you can't experience him here, go find a place where you can. Like, my feelings aren't hurt. Like, I want the best for you. And if you decide this not for you, like, how hypocritical, speaking of hypocrite, how hypocritical does a Christian have to be to say, oh, I don't really care what happens to you? Like, if I truly believe that the balance or the end of heaven and hell is true, if I truly believe that, and I believe that what Jesus says is true, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man comes to the Father except me, what kind of jerk do I have to be to look at you and say, I could care less, man. I don't care what you do. Go pound sand. You don't want to believe in God? Get out. I mean, that's hatred right
Yeah.
there. Love is, I'm just going to share my life with you. I can't make anything. And I hope you go out and explore it. And then we get to sit down and have a conversation one day. That's the love, saying this, like, go, it's personal, it's real. So anyways, I think that was my long disclaimer all the way back to the beginning of this. Is I don't really know how to talk about life without, and it's not that I'm perfect, Lord have mercy. I like to say I'm a dressed up train wreck held together by the grace of God. Like,
Yeah.
you got it.
Well, more on
Yeah.
that train wreck
Yeah,
here.
let's go.
I'm curious. But actually, before we dive into that, I want to tell you
Yeah.
about a question that you had asked before we started
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you about my friends at Good Days.
Okay.
Can I tell you about them?
Is that, yeah.
That's what this is,
Okay.
guys. Guys, Good Days Classic Cocktails. They're a partner of the show. They've been a partner of the show about as long as our friends at Fireworks, if not maybe a little longer. Good Days are a classic cocktail brand created in this ready to drink convenient format to meet the need for a quality premixed cocktail on any occasion. You can try their cocktails at Southern Cove,
All
which is
right.
right down the street from Tim and I in Cartersville. Great bar, great people, great family run it. Good Days is sold in there now, or you can go to their website and check out where they are sold near you. They're a local Georgia company,
Yeah.
born in Marietta, Georgia. So they strive to create a cocktail that tasted good while drinking. Not too flavorful, not too liquory, something right there in the middle. And they found it with Good Days. This can I'm holding is the gin and juice flavor. They've also
Love
got,
it. Gin and juice.
yeah, it's a gimlet, but they've also got a whiskey sour flavor, a vodka cranberry, and a vodka lime.
Let me see that.
Yeah, take it.
Gin and juice. Well, hey, let's say how, like, so listen, I saw that there and I thought you were having a beer, and I was getting ready to get a little upset. Like,
Did I didn't ask you if you
you
wanted
weren't
one?
offering me a beer. I'm like, I'm not above a good drink. Gin and juice just sounds like a fun time. This is great. I didn't know. So I'm glad they got you as a spokesman there. So Good Days, gin and juice, the longboat. That's cool.
Yeah, they're a good company. They're good folks. I'm close with the owners, and they just want to make a drink that tastes good to
Yeah.
drink. You don't feel super bloated after drinking it. All the ingredients are natural and clean. They're just good people and a good product.
Is this the part where we turn to the camera and say, "But drink responsibly"?
Yes.
Is that the part where there's a part?
Tim, you took the words right out of my mouth. Of course, drink responsibly. And of course, you have to be 21 to purchase
Yeah.
Good Days. But if you are 21 or up, go to their website, drinkgooddays.com, see where they're sold near you, and start riding the wave. Have some good days and some even better nights.
Can we give our buddies, Jayson and buddy Frederick, a hard time for a moment?
We can.
You
We can.
you could get that at Southern Cove as long as you don't try to go after 6 o'clock Monday through Thursday. And so we're both friends with Jayson. We love him. We're both friends with Buddy. We
Yep.
love him.
Yep.
And I don't know about you. I give him a hard time all the time. I'm like, hey, Lisa and I were downtown. It was we were going to have a good drink, but you're closed at 6:30, and we'll even take a picture every now and then in front of their store just to give him a hard time. But he's a family man. Buddy's a family man, so I get it. And
Sure. Yeah, funny. I'm pretty sure, Tim, that the reason I decided to sit down next to you at the bar that day at Southern Cove is because
Yeah.
you were giving Jayson a hard time about
Oh,
the
it's
hours. And I think
yeah,
I sat down next to
yeah,
you saying, oh my God, until that time,
yeah,
I didn't know they closed at 6
yeah,
because I was just meeting Jayson that night for the first time as
yeah,
well. And I thought, why do you close at 6, man? And so I
yeah.
sat down next to you because I was like, oh, this guy's giving him a hard time. But I can tell that it's all in good fun.
Well, it's
Uh,
in good fun, So I tell people, like, the things that I do. Hey, just follow me on Facebook. I'm not a really big social media person as far as. I think my Instagram account is linked. I tried to do some night in the box on TikTok. It's kind of hard for me. But here's my point. I tell people, follow me on Facebook. I only do three things: faith, family, and community. However, going back to Jayson, then I'll say the only real scandal I kind of slip into is my clowning around with Jayson. It can get a little, it's like two fifth grade boys
oh,
making
yeah.
fun of each
Oh, yeah.
other and stuff. And even my lovely wife at times, she's like, "Oh my gosh, your guys are like fifth graders." So I always have to follow me on Facebook. It's fine. Night in the Box, my personal Facebook page, faith, family, and community is what I post about. But if you see me get in a conversation with Jayson Frederick, like like I'm slipping, I'm in a slippery slope into some humor that I gotta watch.
Well, that's, I think, what attracted me to you guys at first, too, is that I saw that I was like, okay, here's some validation. These guys are both reasonably well over my age, and they're doing this. And I do this with my friends now. I
Yeah.
always say, your best buddies, if you can't rip them a new one,
Yeah.
they rip you a new one back, then
Yeah.
you're not real friends.
Right, yeah,
So I saw you two doing it, and I said,
yeah,
huh. And I
yeah,
looked at my wife and I was like, look at these two guys. They're,
yeah,
in their whatever age, and they're
yeah,
giving each other crap.
yeah,
Why can't I give my buddies crap? And I
yeah,
was like, look at that. Boys are the same, whether they're 15 or
yeah,
50.
yeah.
Boys have that same mind of like, I'm going to give my best buddies some
Well,
crap.
we are kindred in heart. I've always said that if I believed in reincarnation, he and I were brothers in the past, but we're brothers now. And I'm the older brother, and it really is kind of true family between us. It's weird. We never it just kind of happened. We didn't plan it. We didn't do a blood oath or anything like that.
You mean to
But
say you didn't cut your palms
no,
and shake on it?
no, we just our sense of humors, the things we care about, family values and stuff. And then to your point, it just became fun that we got to say some things to each other, that were make people look twice, a little sideways. Can you
Yeah.
say that to him?
Yeah.
Stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's fun, and I think you need to have friends like that.
And all jokes aside, hey Jayson, if and when you hear this, because I'm sure you will, because you're a supportive friend of me
Yeah.
and of your buddy Tim.
My only goal is to have a better podcast than him. Out of everybody you've done, I don't even need to know who it is. If you had the president himself in here, I wouldn't even try to be like, I just want a better podcast, more listeners, more viewers than Jayson Frederick. And I'll do everything I can to push that.
Well, you know what, Tim? I will, now that you mentioned that, I will intentionally track the performance of your two episodes
Oh.
so we can compare.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious on whose will do better. Jayson, I learned so much about him
Yeah.
that I had no idea.
Talent.
So much. The way that they started Southern Cove is such a
Yeah.
beautiful story
Yeah.
about how they just were trying to make things work, and they were,
Yeah.
buying those pallets and selling them like that.
He
It's
told you the
a
straw
cool
story,
story.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, and then, can you be envious in a good way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
because
so.
I mean, I know, like, you shouldn't like covet. I want your house and all this stuff, but I was like him and his dad, Buddy. Like, so, in my backstory, maybe yours too.
Sure.
There's no dad to brag about.
Mm.
There's only hurt and pain and
I'm sorry about that.
and learning to forgive. But then seeing him and like they just have a cool story, and they did it together as father and son. Like most of the time, like when you're doing family business,
It's
like
ugly.
I've seen some, I'm like, oof, maybe it's best that you didn't do that. But they they support each other, they work out the hard stuff together, and that's just a beautiful picture of family right there.
It is, man. I completely agree. Well, I'm sorry to hear that
Yeah.
your
It's
part of
part
your
of
story
it
it
was
was
part of the healing. It was just part of my story, and it was part of the healing that I needed to go through of just having an absentee dad. I mean, I played football from 7th grade to 12th grade, and he lives like directly behind. There was a middle school and then the high school. Never came to one game,
Mm.
not one.
Were you,
And
I don't want to pry into your business
yeah,
too much.
no,
Were
man.
your parents separated?
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah. I give a talk a couple times a year, either about your authentic self or creating your masterpiece. And that's part of my story of, my mom and dad just being a mess. My first memory of my mom is laying in a pool of vomit, right? Michigan City, Indiana, in a bathroom. And it would be years into my teenage years before, I learned she had tried to commit suicide over
wow,
a split up between her and my father. And my sister and I would go on to live with my grandparents. And my mom survived that, and she would come live with my grandparents, but my father just was never around. Just one of those, just that brokenness. And my grandparents were doing the best they could, but it was rough on them. Having a daughter who was home sometimes, not home for days on end. She had, drug, alcohol
sure.
issues, narcotics issues. Um, and, then me and my sister and I didn't grow up very well together even. I was a turd, man. I mean, I would tell people I didn't have a sister. I was embarrassed, by
Mm.
her. Or I wanted to be cool. Who knows what?
Are you okay today?
Man, I got to tell you. So we are best friends
Oh, I
today.
love that,
We
man.
are. My sister, like, what an angel. What an angel. She was so gentle with me. She became a Christian before me. And she was so gentle with me in our conversations. She knew, like, I literally hated my mom.
You did?
Yeah. Man, it feels so bad to say that, but it's just true. I just hated who she was, how she was.
I hate
Just,
to hear that, man.
just
That kind of
hated
makes my
it.
heart hurt
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
because no one should hate their mom.
right. Well,
But
my sister was is a gentle, loving, patient. Oh my gosh, patient. So she helped my mom to sobriety, helped
wow,
her get her finances in order, shared the love of God with her. And my sister was gentle with me and asked me one time, like, can I bring mom to see you? And I never liked that visit and never welcomed it, never wanted it. But my sister and I had begun talking and opening up to each other about our past and, all that stuff. And she never would push me. Never would push me. Just a great listener. Just like, wish I was more like her. But I said yes. And she brought my mom. And I knew she had been working with our mom on like everything I said, sobriety, getting her finances together. And my mom she was just very intelligent, just had a lot of demons. She brought her. And man, it was the best. My mom and I sat on the front porch of our home out in Little Uharli, Georgia, and we literally cried with each other for about 3 hours, forgiving each other, telling each other we're sorry, telling each other that we wish it wasn't that way, but we can make it better now. Just loving on each other and that forgiveness, seeing her break over her motherhood. And then I broke because I wasn't a very good son either. Even when I had an opportunity to make a better choice to be a son, I didn't. I didn't. That was on me. That wasn't on her. I was a grown adult. That was on me. We just wept and wept. And it wouldn't be but a few years after that, my mom passed. She had some health issues. All joy, all joy. Like she knew the Lord. I knew the Lord. We knew each other. My sister helped us heal. My sister and I are like best friends now. She lives in northern Indiana. We don't get to see each other very often, but like we're just there. She's just, yeah. So it all
it
went
all kind of
well.
works out.
Yeah, yeah. And with my
But
dad,
yeah,
I didn't do that with my dad. I wish I would have.
is he
Um,
no longer with us as
yeah,
well?
he died. But I had a hard heart towards him. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't. I would have gone, it wouldn't have been lovey-dovey. Let's like keep it real. All right.
Sure.
He wasn't a great guy. It wouldn't have been, but I could have been an honorable son. So if you think about honorable, the word honor is honest. I could have been an honorable son, and I could have sat down with him. I could have expressed my pain, my hurt, my sorrow. I mean, like anger, I could have expressed all that, like, because that's honorable. It's honest. That's honoring your father. I'm telling you the truth. And I could have given him an opportunity if I needed to forgive him because I needed to let myself go. Forgiveness wasn't for him, it was for me. So, anyways, I didn't do that. And I remember after he died, we were talking earlier about like God being real and giving you real experiences. And I remember in a moment of quietness that I just felt God impress upon me. Don't ever withhold grace. I never withheld it from you. So grace is God's provision in our life, and we don't deserve it. We don't deserve the love of God and the forgiveness of God. But he says, I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to send Jesus to the cross. He's going to bleed. He's going to take the worst pain that humanity will ever know about. And he's going to do that because you can't take it. You can't forgive yourself of anything, Tim. You can't take it. So I'm going to give you all that grace, even though you don't deserve it, because I love you. And I remember that changed me in a big way when I just felt God say, don't withhold grace from people, even when they're messy and they hurt you, because I never withheld it from you, and you're messy and you hurt me. It's like, wow. So it really helps me now when I'm in tough situations, because let's face it, we all don't like each other. We all don't love each other. We do have pains and hurts. We're different political views or biblical views or whatever. And it doesn't mean you can't stand up for what you believe and say what you want. That's part of the beauty of the United States. The First Amendment should always be there for all of us. But it did impress upon me like, hey, you can judge them or you can love them. You can do both. You can. You can judge somebody. But the Bible says, I've only commanded you to do one, love them. I didn't command you to judge them. You can do it, to love them. So that moment, just reflecting on my dad, I could have been more graceful and sat down. And so I'm not perfect, but I try to practice that more now in relationships that I have that, they might need a little more grace, because I promise you, there are people in my life that give me grace, because I can be a handful,
You and me
I'll be
both,
full.
Tim.
So yeah, so thanks for asking of that, and thanks for showing. I appreciate you showing the empathy there, but it's all good. Remember we were talking earlier, like all those journeys of hurt and pain and sorrow and things that happen. Like when you give them to God, He'll take and do something with them for you. He just cares that much.
Yeah.
He just cares that much. And it's hard. And so, some people struggle more than others with it. So we give them grace. Don't try to, just walk with them. That's the best thing you can do.
Sure. So, Tim, tell me about some of these organizations you do. I mean,
Yeah.
you say
Yeah.
you're not a big social media guy, but Tim, every time I throw open Facebook, you're
Oh,
there at the top. You're
oh,
sharing something from this
yeah.
organization, saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, go support these people,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
follow these people."
Yeah.
You're somebody that I've kind of started to
Yeah.
slowly but surely kind of evolve into, and that's
Yeah.
someone with the title
Yeah.
of like they're a community connector.
Yeah.
You from the outside looking in, I told you this when I met you initially, but I was like, okay, we're going to do this podcast together, and I don't want to learn anything about you until then.
Yeah.
But I've just noticed with being friends with you online,
Yeah.
the kind of stuff that you're into. I'm like, "Man, Tim and I are very similar in that it looks like from the outside looking in that you care about your friends winning, but you also care about like putting this friend with this friend who might
Oh,
not have ever
yeah.
met
Yeah.
together to
Man.
see the magic that they can create together.
Yeah, what a gift we can give people.
So fun, isn't it?
It is. It's a
It's
blast.
so
Like,
good.
I'm like, oh, hey, I can't help with that, but I think I know somebody that you'll want to, because other people have done that for me, right? I'm giving back. I'm giving back. The community stuff really didn't start until 2016.
Wow.
And I were, and our family, we were going to a small church, Church of the Vine in Dallas, Georgia. I got ordained there because I thought I was going to go into full-time ministry in the vocational ministry full-time. But that wasn't the path. In 2016, some things happened at the church and I had opportunity, but to be honest, I'm like, I'm not ever going to seminary. That looks boring. There was another guy at that church that he was an ordained pastor. He had great ministries, and I just knew he should be there and he should lead that church. And I told him that, and he belly laughed and said, 3 weeks ago, my wife and I were praying about it, and we felt like that was God was saying, and we were just waiting for you. Can you imagine? So Lisa and I, we were already living in Bartow County, and we came to Bartow County, and that was, I felt like God was saying, go be a minister in Bartow County. Go be a community minister in Bartow County and do anything I give you to do, even if you don't get paid for it. Whatever you're asked to do to pour into that community, just go do it. So I didn't even know where to start. Like, what the heck does that mean?
Right. Like one thing I try to talk about with a lot of people is like, because a lot of the people I talk to have these cool, unique stories where they are a part of this or they helped start that. But I'm just sitting here wondering at that time, at that point, when you decided to start going and being this community minister, where's your income? Or is Lisa working and that's giving you the ability to be able to go out and explore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So absolutely. So not only was she working at
And
the
was
time?
she a teacher?
Yeah, she is a teacher.
Yes.
She's nearing the end of her career. So at the time, so I spent.
So you got to come here because she's in the middle of back to school.
Yeah.
So she's probably going to bed at 7 o'clock, like my wife is, because my wife's also a teacher.
Yeah, they get tired easy. She's in 5th grade.
Okay, mine goes second.
Yeah, so she's been in elementary, and yeah, it wears her. So I'm going to guess you're like me and I'm like you. We probably have a good maybe 10 to 15 hours a day of people time if we had to.
Yeah.
Right. And our wives have probably a good 6, 7, maybe at the max.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So if it's a Saturday, and neither of our wives are at work and we're at social events and it's like birthday party, you know, whatever, social event, networking. By the second event, my wife's like, I'm ready to go home. And I'm like, oh, we've got another half a day still.
I've literally had Lisa say to me, like, true story, you got 30 minutes to say goodbye to people and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Like, I will leave.
I will leave you.
You know so many people, you find a ride home, Mr. Community Guy.
And they'll give you a ride home.
But no, so my career-wise, I got out of the Navy and floundered quite a bit.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're welcome. Like, yes, I think that,
How long did you serve?
You're welcome. I was 5 years.
Awesome.
5 years.
Thank you, Tim.
It was, I would do it all again and I'd be better at it. Not such a knucklehead, but I really floundered when I got out of the Navy. Again, I didn't have any direction in life. And, I thought life should be, I was in Pensacola, Florida. I thought life should be the 3 B's, beers, beaches, and bikinis, and that is not, it's not, it was a fun mindset, but it doesn't have a great ending.
No,
okay.
It usually ends like Charlie Sheen's crash out, burn out.
Exactly. So I floundered quite a bit, but one of the things I began to learn about myself is I love people and I love hospitality. Right. So I went to work at Red Lobster and I was waiting tables. Love waiting tables.
You'd be a good server, I can tell.
I loved it. I love it today if I could keep up.
What part of it did you love so much? Just connecting with the customers?
Yeah. So it was so much fun connecting, learning how to read the tables, learning how to work all the tables at once, knowing where the kitchen was. I would know if the server next to me was dying and I would pick up their table to get extra money. Cause I'd be like, man, you're dying. Let me help you out. And then sometimes just trying to be a nice guy, I would help them out just to get through. Love connecting with the people, reading them, seeing their stories, if there's family, if there's a couple, whatever they're doing. I loved it. I had so many wait jobs. Like I just kept taking, TGI Fridays, Olive Garden, Red Lobster, a lot of little community restaurants. I just loved it. Well, I ended up going into management with Red Lobster, and so I spent several years in management with them. And uh, I again knucklehead stuff, and either I was going to go or get fired, right? Because I had done some knucklehead things,
Uh-oh.
and but within this, I look back now, every knucklehead thing I did, I see God's hand was on me then. I didn't know it then. I would have told you were nuts,
Yeah.
or like, are you smoking the same stuff I'm smoking? Is that why you're saying that? Type, like seriously, those were the things I was doing. I was just blowing up my life, any recreational drug I could find and stuff like that. But so when I left Red Lobster, I was in Naples, Florida. I ended up going out to Marriott, Marco Island. They have a resort out there. Loved it. I'm like, I'm glad. Like all of a sudden there's this huge hotel with all these people. Like I couldn't get enough. It was so much fun. And went in and did some supervisory things with them. So spent 7 years with Marriott.
Wow.
And then I had a 1-year job at Town Center Mall when they were owned by Simon Malls as the marketing manager, and they had mall perks. First of all, okay, that job taught me how much I really hate retail. Like I do not like to shop, and man, people would yell at me about a store not being open, and I'm like, they don't work for me. I don't care less than that store's open.
Fair, yeah.
But that led to Kaiser Permanente. You asked about my career. So when all this was going on, I was with Kaiser Permanente for 23 years. That came to an end in November of 2023. And so when I'm going through all these things I'm telling you about, in 2016, I knew I was going to get discretionary time in my life because I was now working for our California offices, and so they just open later. And so literally had a prayer and said, God, how can I get involved in this community? And then a friend of mine offered Leadership Bartow, so I got into Leadership Bartow, and that launched me into everything you see me doing now. Like that, I met people, like-minded people, community leaders, love community, wanted to dig in deeper, and I started realizing, well, you're going to use this and I'm going to get to go, so started helping out the Red Door Food Pantry. And so I have this leadership principle that you don't know until you start showing up. So if you're thinking about it, be brave enough to start showing up. And if it doesn't work out, walk away, right? If you don't show up, you don't even get a chance to play. So whatever it is you want to do, I don't care. If you want to own a trash service, start showing up, whether they pay you or not. Get to know the people that work there, get to know how they run the business, take a job there. I wanted to do community give back. So I just started showing up at the Red Door Food Pantry, still a thriving nonprofit. When I say I don't support them, I just moved on to other nonprofits.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong, but that just started opening up. I just started doing that. And then in 2018, the leader of the Good Neighbor Homeless Shelter, Jessica Mitchum, we were on a committee together in the chamber, and she called me and said, hey, would you like to help me raise money? And I said, I've never raised any money. I said, how? And she goes, well, you could do this thing we call Dancing with the Stars. And I thought, well, man, that's going to be a nightmare, but it sounds fun. I'll do fun. So I said, yes, I'd never raised any money before. And it was the start of Night in the Box. Everybody does cocktail parties. They raffle off bourbon. They hold really cool brunches. I didn't want to do any of that. And I thought, well, if I'm going to help the Good Neighbor Shelter who's helping homeless people, I don't know a dang thing about homeless people. You know what I knew? I thought they were lazy. I thought like they just wanted to be mooches in life. Like you're just out here doing drugs and you're just out here getting drunk and you're just out here begging. And so I thought, well, I'm going to say yes to help the shelter. I better get to know the people that they're helping. So I invited, get this, like I'm a new guy here at this. I invited 10 nonprofit leaders to come meet with me. And 5 showed up. I was so happy. In baseball, that's batting 500.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Hall of Fame, baby.
Yeah.
5 showed up. And I said, okay, I got to raise money. I don't know how to raise money, never raise money. I said, I think I'm going to go live in the woods with homeless people for a week. And I'm just going to film and take notes and tell the story and ask people to donate money because I'm giving a sacrifice to go learn this. And I remember Doug Belisle. He looked at me, big old guy, huge guy, big burly beard. You don't want to do that. I said, why? He goes, that ain't safe. So Doug is a minister and he'd been ministering. He's the current executive director of the Good Neighbor Homeless Shelter. Beautiful brother. And I said, well, how can I be somewhat genuine and represent them if I'm going to raise money for them? And he goes, you want to do Night in the Box? I said, I do. What is it? And he called a friend of his in Denver who was doing something very similar in the city center of Denver, that they would sleep outside publicly in order to raise awareness about the needs of homelessness. How does it even happen? Like, why should we care, about the people that are there? Like, and are they really just all screwed up, or are there other things? And so I went out and slept on that street corner for the first time in January 2019. I started learning about how homelessness happens. This is what you have to hang on to. And I'm working on turning Night in the Box into a larger talking platform about vulnerable communities. And this is what you have to hang on to. And you have to answer this question: are suffering people worth fighting for?
Yeah.
So if you say yes, then what is your next step in compassion and generosity? Just go figure that out. And where are you going to live out? Because the true shift is in society isn't more government, right? That's not the true shift. It's not more money. That's not the real shift, right? It's not just growth. That's not the real shift. The true shift in society is generosity and compassion. That's why Bartow County is so strong. That place is different, don't you think?
It is.
And I think, and you could go around and you could prove it. It's a faith-led, business-led community where people are giving, they're sacrificing of their time, their money, and their energy to try to help vulnerable communities. So Night in the Box, January 2019, I raised almost $6,000, first time ever doing it. It was 21 degrees that night.
Good Lord.
I spent time talking about homelessness, how it happens. If you like what I'm doing, just like, I'm not fake. I have a home. I have a wife. I have a job. I have a warm bed. But I'm trying to give a voice to people who don't have one. Right? You're not listening to them. Will you listen to me? If I do this, will you listen to me? And then will you make a decision on whether you can help with your time, energy, and money and raise money for the Good Neighbor Shelter? So I'm getting ready to do it the 15th time next month. The time before, I've been working in foster care now, just led Cartersville to be established as a foster-friendly city. They're the third city in the state of Georgia to have a state designation from Georgia Kids Belong as a foster-friendly city. So much fun, so worthy, vulnerable community, families that fall apart so much that the state's going to come take your kids. That's a crisis. And if you don't believe it, just ask that child who doesn't understand, even though they're living in something that's not good for them. They don't understand. Why'd you just take my family away? That's hard stuff. And we need good, solid families. Love the Lord, love the community, love these kids that will step in the gap while their parents go work on something. That's hard to do, but we need. So I'm working on how can I take Night in the Box into just a larger conversation about vulnerable communities. Help me with this true shift in society. I'm not trying to change the world, but I do believe together we're changing Bartow County and it's getting stronger. And if somebody wants to steal everything I'm doing, I stole something somebody was doing in Denver, never met the dude. You want to steal and you want to take it to another state, another city, like I'll be right there to help you, like if that's your passion. But God led me into all of that stuff. Like those are just opportunities that open: the foster care, the Good Neighbor Homeless Shelter, the Compassion Center. One of the reasons I go to Crosspoint is because they say it all the time. Suffering people are worth fighting for. And so we better be a church that acts like that. Our money, our time and our energy. And have you been to the Compassion Center?
I have not been.
Man, come. Let's you and I just, I don't know what your schedule is. Let's like just go and I'll show you what it's all about.
I'd love to.
I mean, they're helping people off the street get in home. Now, those people have to take the next step, right? I can't force you, but they're giving them the opportunity to take the next step, right? They're helping them. They're helping them find how can they get health care. They got a mobile medical bus there, so they're helping them do that. They're helping them find how can I get a bank account? How can I get a job? And they're helping them do it.
I love that.
It's crazy.
Where is the Compassion Center?
It's right over off Old Mill Road, right next to Cross Point. So the Compassion Center is its own nonprofit, but it's a startup of Cross Point.
Okay.
Cross Point's not going to let it fail.
Sure.
Right.
It's its own organization on paper, legally.
Right.
But it was started from
every nonprofit needs seed money. Sure. Every nonprofit needs a financial backer.
Sure.
And it's living. So one of the reasons I go to Cross Point is because I see them in action.
Yeah.
So man, we got like 40 people going to Hay State Prison this Friday to lead revival.
Wow.
In Hay State Prison. Hay State Prison is a level 5 prison, which I believe is just the next level down from the top level 6. And like almost 3 years ago, the leaders of Cross Point said, we don't know how, but we're going to go to that prison and we're not going to do prison ministry. We're going to put a ministry in the prison.
Wow.
And we hired a pastor who was on a life sentence and it got commuted. You can go watch his story. It's online. They did a video on him. It got commuted and he had given his life to Christ and he was just going to do ministry in the prison the rest of his life because he had a life sentence. He gave his life to Christ and through a series of events, it got commuted. And now he's leading that ministry from Cross Point to that prison to see men reformed and change, that they think life has given up on them and you would know why they blew it up, but they're giving them hope. Like, you're not done. Jesus is not done with you. The end of this life doesn't have to be the end of your life. So it's crazy. So that's one reason why I go. And I tell people, if Cross Point's not for you, I'm not pushing Cross Point. I go find where you can experience God. Go live out something bigger than you. Because I mean, honestly, everything I do is bigger than me. Right? Like all that stuff is like, I don't know. I'm trying to get more families to do foster care. I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
But so all of those things, 2016, getting asked to do something, saying yes, starting to show up, gaining an empathy for a vulnerable community. Because if it happened to me, that's what I would want you to do for me. Show up for me, even if I don't know you, never see you. Like maybe I need a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. Oh, and you learn that some of these folks are homeless because mom put everything she had in the car with the kids so she wouldn't get beat one more night.
Yeah.
You learn that this guy that blew up his life had a dad that blew him up in the most heinous of ways. And he didn't know any different. And so now he's at the shelter. Now he's at the compassion shelter. And we're doing transformation. Not just, we're going to do the transactional stuff. We're going to do your laundry. We're going to help you find housing if we can. We're going to feed you. We're going to let you get a shower and feel like a human, get some clean clothes on you. But we're going to sit down and just talk. And the only way to build trust is to talk again. Look for opportunity. I think we can help with this. Love. And you got to take steps too, right?
Sure.
You got to take steps too. So all that stuff is, honestly, I feel like I'm just living out who I was created to be. And when that season ends, God will let me know. Like, I don't know when it will. Or my wife says, how many times are you going to go out in that box? I was only going to go once, but it got so in my heart. And it's so daunting for me to go. Like it feels like I feel stupid when I go. Like that, it's like Satan working in my head. Nobody cares. You look stupid. Nobody's going to change. Nobody's going to get involved. You're not going to help anything. You just look like an old guy sitting out on a street corner for 24 hours, whether it rains, whether it's 106-degree heat index, whether it's 21 degrees, you're just stupid. Every time I take a step of faith and go out there, there's a new story. There's a new story. I was having a really tough moment one time out there, and I just felt this was one of these Lord things again. I'm saying, God, this is stupid, isn't it? Like, I ain't going to change anything because we all want grandeur, right? You want success. I want
Of course.
success.
Of course.
And I have an idea. At one time, I thought, I'll get 100 people to sleep on the street corner, right? And I don't think that was a good idea, but it was at the time I had it, but I remember sitting there in the loneliness of it thinking this is stupid. But then I felt like the Lord brought a story to mind in the Bible, and I felt him impress upon me. If you're going to be obedient, if I told you to go across the world for one person, you would do it. So you're out here. Maybe it won't be grand the way you think it, but you're obedient and you care, and you're telling people you care. You're asking them to care. You're inviting them into something, and you and I get to spend time together. It's worth it.
Wow. I love all of that, Tim. That's so good. It's really inspiring, to be honest, especially to hear from like where you came from and the journey that you walked through to get to here where you're now just giving back. It's just really powerful stuff. Can I tell you about another friend of mine?
Yeah, man, listen, we just talked about being all for each other. I want you to be like, do your thing
I'm gonna
and,
tell you, Tim.
and do it.
I'm gonna tell you, Tim, you and I have both been to these networking events. We've
Oh,
been
yeah.
to these golf tournaments. We've gone to all of these things, and they always give you a little bag, and it's got some, a pen with someone's logo on it, or a golf tee.
What do they call swag bags?
Swag bags.
What is there's an acronym stand for?
Swag.
You tell it and I'll look it up. I can't
remember someone telling me actually pretty recently what swag stands for. It's something to deal with merchandise. Either way, regardless,
you got a swag bag.
There's a lot of people that need to level up their swag bags. There's a lot of companies out there. You see them, they've got bad shirts, old hats, and they need to level up their swag game, Tim.
Okay.
So I know somebody that can do that. Your brand deserves better than boring swag. Not in the box. Do you have swag, Tim?
I don't, but it's funny you mentioned that. I've been thinking about what do Night in the Box hats look like.
There you go.
Or
I'd buy one.
I have some ideas. Yeah.
There you go.
So you've got a guy.
I've got a guy, Tim. I'll tell you and everybody else about Branded and Devoted Designs. They're a local family, local company based out of the great city of Harley, Georgia.
No way.
That run this business, Branded and Devoted Designs.
No way.
They make custom hats, shirts, tumblers, mugs. They can put your logo on anything. They've made coasters for me. They've made shirts for me. They've made notebooks, coasters. I said coasters already, but I'm emphasizing the coasters, people. They've made some good stuff for me. And you know what? If you look them up, if you go to their website,
right now,
brandeddevoteddesigns.com, if you connect with them on social media, or however you connect with them, if you mention that you got their information from Logan, from your morning drive, they'll give you 10% off your order. How about that?
And they're in Harley, Georgia. I live in Harley.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
And
I had to come all the way to Marietta to find that out.
Look at God. Every piece of merch that I have sold of Your Morning Drive has come from Branded and Devoted Designs. They've been a partner of the podcast also for over a year and a half, 2 years at this point, and we are excited to have them on board as a sponsor. So again, contact them. Go to their TikTok. They're posting daily on there, their Instagram, their Facebook. If you need stuff to level up your swag game, contact Branded and Devoted Designs. Dave Davis, he's a great guy, great family, and would love to see some upgraded swag out there. So spread the word, tell your friends.
That is so cool.
Tell them Logan sent you 10% off.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that we're in the hometown, and now I have to look him up.
You have to. He's probably right down the street from you. Harley's
not a 5.7 square miles.
He's probably down the street from you. He's a great guy. He works at a great local credit union out there for his full-time job.
All right.
But on the side, he's grinding and providing businesses with cool swag.
Oh, like,
And him and his wife do it, and they've made countless things for me, tumblers, water bottles. I mean, they do it with quality. I mean, that coffee mug right there, actually, that one that's engraved with Your Morning Drive, they laser engraved that.
that is so cool.
And you know what's even better about that, Tim, is you get to take that coffee cup with you.
Do I
That
really?
is your gift.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously?
Every guest gets a gift.
Do you have like a pen that you're going to sign it? I'm expecting big things out of you.
Well,
So,
you know,
in
I
5 years, somebody like, listen, that dude's got 1 million followers and
signed my
he
coffee
signed
cup.
my coffee cup,
That's
right?
amazing.
I didn't help him get there, but I did beat Jayson Frederick's
You
podcast.
did. You did. You did.
Yeah, you got to sign that before I go.
I don't have a Sharpie with me.
All right.
but
Well,
I'll
we
just
live
meet
in
you.
we live
I was
near
gonna say,
each
I'll
other.
meet you at Southern
Southern
Cove
Cove.
next week,
Yeah.
and we'll get a drink, and
I
I'll
like
sign your
that.
mug.
I
How
like
about
that. That'd be good.
Uh,
Be good.
so, Tim, there comes a point in every conversation I have with
Yeah.
all my guests where I ask them a collection of questions that could be rapid fire, but they just kind of get to know you as Tim. We just got to know you, your past, your journey, where you're going, what you're doing with Night in a Box and all these other organizations. But I want to know who you are at home.
Yeah.
Who is Tim? So, are you ready for these questions, Tim?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean,
They're
I'm
very
ready.
easy questions.
I had the thought of like, well, you got two choices. You can just walk out at this point, Tim, or that would be like, well, hey, this podcast ended because Tim really didn't want to talk about who he is at home.
He didn't want to tell me what his favorite movie of all time is, and that's when he left out. And that's the first question for you,
Questions
Tim.
like that.
Favorite movie of all time.
Gosh almighty, of all time. So if I could only watch one more movie, boy, I'm going to tell you the movie that comes to mind. There's two that come to mind the most.
Give them both to me.
All right. Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, great.
So you remember me telling you my story, like the passion that you see now wasn't always there. And I remember watching Last of the Mohicans and I didn't even know who Daniel Day-Lewis was at the time. I just watching this movie. He had so much passion in his role. So much passion. Like when it was either his wife or his girlfriend, they were going to take her away. And like he's screaming through this water fountain, stay alive, I will find you. And I think I just got hooked into that passion. Like I want to have passion like that.
Right.
So yeah, Last of the Mohicans. I think that movie stands the test of time. I'm not sure, but yeah, that comes to mind. And then the other movie, it's a different type of passion, but was Casablanca.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Right. Like just
choices.
heartfelt. Things aren't right. Things are messy. Like it shouldn't be happening this way. But let's just bring our hearts and let's see what happens. And so, yeah, those would be the two.
Very good.
There's much better movies, by the way, much better movies, but those two come to mind immediately.
What was your first job ever? The first time you collected a paycheck?
Yeah, that's easy. So I was born and raised on a small farm in northern Indiana. My uncle owned the farm setting, 700 acres out there. He farmed, I think at one time, I can't remember how many, more than that. So he had his house and I lived with my grandparents. They had their house. It's 100-year-old farmhouse and you were expected to work and I got paid for it. Started off, I think like $6.50 an hour type thing. And then like first paycheck was the Navy. So I graduated in May of 1982 and I was in the Navy in August of 1982. So,
wow.
So my first job ever was just working. I hated the farm, by the way. Do you know why?
Because that's hard work.
It wasn't so much the hard work. It was lonely. It was lonely.
Very.
There's hours upon hours of working in the shed on your own, changing oil, changing out blades on a disc, vacuuming out. You're the kid. You got the grunt work.
Yeah.
You're vacuuming out tractors that have dust in it. You're sweeping machine sheds. I didn't know why. I thought I hated it because of the work, but I didn't mind sweating. I mean, I baled hay every summer and the barn was 120 degrees.
Yeah.
And guess who they put in the barn?
Yeah.
The youngest of the people there. You have no seniority. Get your butt up there. Those hay bales are 70 pounds, man. I barely I barely weighed 70 pounds, but it was lonely. It was lonely, and I hate loneliness is a killer, and that's what homeless people that are vulnerable, it was one of the biggest lessons when I crawl in that box around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't hate it because it's cold or hot or I don't have a cushion. I got my sleeping bag and a pillow. I hate it because it's lonely, and it helped me gain empathy for people going through mental health, tough times, feeling like nobody loves them anymore, that they've done so much wrong that everybody's forgotten about them. So I learned that I hated the farm because I was lonely.
Wow. That's deep,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
All right. I answered your question.
Yes, you did.
Navy was my first
Navy was your
W-2.
first
First
W-2.
W-2.
I'm going to ask you some more questions, Tim, but before that, I'm going to tell you about one last friend of the
Keep
podcast.
telling it.
That friend is called Hammerhead Creations, Tim.
Okay.
Interested in hearing more?
Yeah, I kind of like, it's a unique name. Yeah.
Very unique. Hammerhead Creations is here to help you elevate your business or brand online. Branded and devoted designs, they help you in the physical space. Hammerhead helps you in the
Wow.
digital, including social media management, website design, newsletter writing, all of those fun things that every company seems to have nowadays. Hammerhead does it. They ensure that your business reaches the right audience. Whether it's a side hustle or your full-time job, their expert team is ready to help you grow. Plus, if you're into podcasting like I am, this is why we work so well together. Hammerhead offers full support for in-house shows as well as external podcast creation from concept to production. They'll help you bring the ideas to life if you visit their website, hammerheadcreations.com. Discover how they can take your business or podcast to the next level, and then you too can swim with the big sharks.
You know what I like that you're doing? You've done a great job developing trusted partnerships, whether it's Hammerhead and Brandon Design or
Good days, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good, right? Because people do business with people they trust. So they trust you.
Yeah, I like to think so. And the relationship with Hammerhead Creations is a really unique one because they're easy people to get along with because Hammerhead Creations, Tim, is me. I am Hammerhead.
Oh, I love it. So you trust yourself.
I trust myself, and I have to advertise the marketing business on the show because
That is so cool.
Yeah, so that's always a fun.
That is so cool. That is so cool. All right. Well, Hammerhead came from you got bit by a hammerhead shark, or
Yeah,
what happened?
actually, this calf here you can't see because no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was getting ready to say
No,
shark
no.
story.
We talked about this, but we talked about this at the bar, but we both said that we usually, as long as we trust the person, I'll believe anything they tell me.
Oh,
And we talked about how we could be gullible at times, and your wife rolled her eyes and said, "Oh my God," my wife rolled her eyes and said, "Oh my goodness, Logan falls for everything." But yeah, I can. Funny enough, we hired this new guy at my full-time job this week, and he introduced himself today to us and was telling us about him, and I just started making up this story. He was like, "Logan, so what? How long you been here? What do you do?" And so I just started making up this story and just started going and going. And one of my coworkers rudely was like, "None of it's true." And I was like, "Oh man, I was just going to keep going." And so I take that. I believe everything, but I also love to tell a good fake story here and there. But Hammerhead Creations, yeah, my biggest fear in the world is sharks. Terrified of them. And less so terrified of sharks, but terrified of being put in a scenario with a shark. Because, one of us is coming out alive and it's probably not me. So terrified of them. And maybe 6 months ago or so, I had a guest on and I told them about Hammerhead. And they said, what you should do is you should raise money for charity. And your money should go towards you. Or the method to raise the money should be say, hey, I'm going to go cage dive with some hammerhead shark and raise money and use some of the money to, of course, get me to wherever the heck in the world I got to go to get with the hammerhead sharks, but also take the rest of the money and donate it to a nonprofit that you're passionate about. And I was like, you know what? I'd do that. I would do that.
Yeah. The only way I'm getting in a shark cage is if I think I can help somebody else because they ain't going to help me.
No.
You know what I mean? So I like that.
I want to try to connect real bad, Tim. So I'm really trying to stretch the network here,
Okay.
but I'm really trying to see if I can get with somebody at the Georgia Aquarium, and
Mm.
so that I can get in their
Do
tank.
you know who knows somebody at the Georgia Aquarium?
No,
Jayson.
really.
Val, his former employee.
Val used to work for him.
Yeah, she used to work with
The blonde girl.
Yeah, the blonde girl.
No.
She was when, we did a boat race for the Good Neighbor Homeless Shelter 2 years in a row. They don't do the bed race, sorry. And Jayson and Buddy were kind of the sponsors of our team. And Val dressed up like a pirate, and like she had the best because we did ship face pub and raise money for the Good Neighbor Shelter, actually, and we won 2 trophies. Like they're in next time you go into Southern Cove, you see the trophies. But going back to you, he knows Val. She's been working at the aquarium now for probably 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will lean on Jayson.
There you go, man. Like if I did this one, if it took us an hour and however long to get here, to get you connected, to go get in a Shark Tank, my life may be just
people. If you're listening to this in whatever month you're listening to this, and you go on social media and you see that I got into a Shark Tank, it's likely because of what Tim just said just now. So take that and roll with it. But Tim, more questions for you.
Let's go.
You get, well, do you know what it means to have a walkout song?
Well, I imagine the same thing as a walk-in song, except one you're walking in and one you're walking out.
Well, sure. So, yeah, walk-in song. What would yours be?
Yeah. So my,
if you're about to enter the ring, Tim.
Yeah.
What song's playing?
Yeah. I've just been hooked on this song ever since it came out. Apparently, millions of people have been hooked on it, and that's Jelly Roll and Brandon Lake, Hard Fought Hallelujah.
Yes, very good.
Right, because we have, one of my favorite questions to ask people to get them to open up and have a real conversation is like, what's one of the biggest misconceptions people have about you? One of them they have about me is I'm always happy, always joyful, everything's always okay. It's not.
Tim, they say the same crap about me.
I know. And it's because gregarious people, we have a little trouble showing. Like we don't ever really want to show up and not be okay. So we do this. We're the fake us is doing just fine. So that song has meant a lot to me, and I think millions of people looking at it. Have you ever heard it?
I have, absolutely. I love Jelly. I love him.
Because I'll go back to something I said earlier. God does not define us on our worst day or our best day.
And Jelly Roll is an example of that.
Like if I'm killing it today, God, you love me more, don't you? Yeah. Like I'm your best son ever. And then the next day I say something insensitive to my wife, or, I've got a struggle, going on about this or that, or I'm not getting along with my kids, or whatever it might be. And I'm like, oh yeah, God, man, I'm not a good guy. You don't like me today. Like I shouldn't have done that. Right. I shouldn't have spent money on that. Or I shouldn't have had this thought, or I shouldn't have coveted this, or whatever it is. So that song like reminds me, like, God's not giving up on you, never. So don't give up, even if it's a hard fought hallelujah. Bring your heart, walk through hell if that's what it feels like you're going through, but you keep walking and you give a hard fought hallelujah because God's not giving up on you. So that's my walkout. That would be my walkout song. And I don't know if we talk in a year, if it's still the same, but that's where I am. I was listening to that before I came in here.
I love that.
I was listening to that before, just reminding me of
very good
who I am and who he is.
So on the same vein of music, Tim, you get to organize yourself a music festival.
Yeah.
Who are your 3 headliners?
Oof. All right. Well,
alive or dead.
Okay. All right. Gosh, you know what? That is so interesting. Well, I think we're bringing back Fleetwood Mac in their heyday. I'm not going to be very original here with this. I do love music. I think we've got to bring back Journey in their heyday with Steve Perry.
Sure.
And I'm just going to end with the third where I ended there. I'm just throwing Jelly Roll up on that stage and just telling him to do what he does. And so I do love country music too, but like the first things, I just gave you the first things that came to my mind. Like, I don't know any red-blooded American guy that hasn't had a crush on Stevie Nicks
Oh, for
somewhere.
sure. For
Come
sure.
on, come on, so yeah, I would just put that together. I think a lot of people would come to those three, don't you?
I would.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, it's just me and you rocking out.
Yeah. You know what makes me, this is kind of funny. It's like, well, Tim, you've been talking about your walk with Christ and all this stuff. And you didn't even throw one Christian band in there. So like, like my favorite Christian band is Third Day, but you were just thinking about a music festival.
Sure.
And, all that
You're
stuff.
thinking about popularity,
Yeah.
sales.
Just thinking like iconic groups,
Yeah,
Journey,
sure.
and Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
In their
And then you
heyday.
throw in some modern flair, Jelly Roll,
Yeah.
and that's something for everyone.
Yeah.
I love that. Great answer. On a day that you're not working in any capacity, you're not working for any organization, you're just an off day.
Yeah.
How do you take care of yourself? How do you recharge?
Yeah, man, you're not ready for this. I'm not getting out of here. You're not getting out of here.
That's fine.
I've been on a journey since November of 2023, and that's when my time with Kaiser came to an end, and it rocked me. It made me really think about my identity and what am I afraid of, and why do I care? So when I've been learning this, here's what I do when I've been learning. In that month, I felt like the Lord was giving me this word. People do word of the year and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the word was intimacy. And I began to think, and it broke my heart. I don't know if I know what intimacy with God is. I know what activity with God is. I believe his promises. I'm saved by grace and faith alone. I don't ever have to do anything. And he still loves me, still promises me I'll be with him. But I know activity with God. Intimacy requires some things that I wasn't doing. So now I've been practicing these 4 S's. Surrender. What do I need to surrender in my life? What am I holding on to tightly to that doesn't even really belong to me? Silence. I just told you I don't like loneliness. I don't like silence. I'm not good with it. I'm not good. Even in the kitchen, bedroom, Alexa's all over. I mean, sometimes it's just instrumental music, but just have it on, or it's news I don't even really care about. Like, I don't watch news on TV, but I'll put it in there.
Yeah,
Silence.
in the background. Yeah.
Solitude. Like, get used to the solitude.
Which is ironic considering that you don't love silence.
Yeah, it is. And it's
finding that balance.
Yeah, it's been hard. And then simplicity. Quit making things complicated. Wait on God. You don't have to orchestrate everything. You don't have to push. Because that's the way I normally do it. Like if I have an idea and you say no to me, that's all right. I'll go find another dude. I got a lot of energy. And if that dude doesn't like it or don't see the vision, that's all right. I'll go back to you and try to convince you again. I got a lot of energy.
And if I say no again, then they'll just go to Southern and talk to Jayson.
Yeah. So I'm a work in progress on intimacy with God in those 4 areas of simplicity, solitude, surrender, and silence. And I've been reading a few books on that and learning how to just sit. And some people love that. They don't have to work at it. I have to make myself just sit. My wife and I went on a silent retreat, just her and I. And the plan was all day would just be like silence, no TV, no music. We could talk to each other if we wanted, but we would do just silence. We would nap if we wanted to nap. She's very artistic. She can draw murals on all these walls. My son gave me a book at Christmas to write down, ask all these questions you're asking. Tell me about you, Dad. Tell me about you.
I almost got my dad that same book.
It's great. I haven't finished yet. I've been doing it, so we're done. But we just did it. Then at night, we would just cook a meal together and maybe watch a movie. But we just did 3 days of just that lingering. Like, she wasn't so sure about it at first. She said it sounded kind of weird, new age. Man, we just lingered with each other and we grew closer. God began to teach me about intimacy. I sat by a fire down by the river for 3 hours by myself. Took my Bible, never even read it.
Wow. Just sat there with yourself.
Just sat there listening to that and just saying, talk to me, God.
And the sound of the fire
or don't,
rippling.
or don't.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here. It's hard. And it's hard when you come back home and you don't have that. But so if and I'm trying to make it a practice. Whew, wish I could tell you I'm good. Trying to make it I don't Sabbath well, even for 4 hours a week, I don't Sabbath well. And I'm trying to enter into that kind of rest of my mind, my soul, my spirit, and just do it. But it's a work. So you asked me, that's what I would do. Hey, if I could give you a gift, what would it be? I just need to take a day, and I'm not excited about it, to be honest with you. But once I get into doing it, breathe. Just be intimate with God. Just be intimate with the things that matter with you. Linger with my wife. Linger. Just be in the same room. No plan. Don't talk about how much we need, don't need, how much more we want. We don't need any more. Just linger. Watch her draw. Watch her paint. You go read. Take a nap on the couch. You never do that during the midday. Man, it was good. It was good.
That's awesome. I love that.
I'm learning. I'm growing.
A couple more, Tim. What is your biggest fear?
I was on another podcast and they asked me that same question and I blew it. I don't think I gave a great answer. I don't want to live in a world without encouragement. I don't. Like I was sharing with you, even if you don't believe like I believe, it still doesn't mean that you might not encourage me in something and I encourage you in something. And if we can't, then we just need to get out of each other's way. I just don't want to live in that world. If there was a fear, and when I say I'm not afraid of dying, meaning that I just have faith, I know where I'm going. But to have to live without encouragement, that would be tough. Jeremiah was a prophet. And if you read it, it's really sad. He never had one convert. Nobody would listen to him. The only encouragement he had was obedience to God. That's tough. And I would do it if I had to, but I don't want to. I want to encourage others and I need to be encouraged by others. Actually, I think if you go to my Facebook, it says, what kind of encouragement do you need today? What kind of encouragement do I need today?
It does say that.
Yeah.
It does say that.
I just don't want to live with not false encouragement, but just genuine. Like I have people in my life, if it's not my best day, I can tell them. And they can't fix it, but I can tell them. And I think we all need that.
We do.
That's why I fight for these vulnerable communities. They need it too. They need to tell somebody. And when you build trust, they'll tell you. It was all my fault. It was all my fault.
Tim, what is a quote or advice you've ever, or that you've been given that you kind of stick with, that you love, that you live by, if anyone?
Yeah. Gosh, I know I'll say something and then I'll drive away and think, gosh, I should have.
Yep. Yeah, you'll text me later and say, man, I want to change my answer.
Well, one that I usually give, I've already given you, and I don't know if it's a quote, it's a motto or a mantra, is suffering people are worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Because I like to think I'm worth fighting for if I'm not doing well someday. So, I always use this Winston Churchill quote because it helps level set my mind. Pick battles. I'm going to mess it up. Pick battles small enough to win and big enough to matter. In other words, so it just level sets. Like, do I really want to climb that hill?
Sure.
Is it just my enthusiasm that's getting me there? So it just helps level set my mind and calms me down.
Very good. Very good. And then lastly, Tim, what is your main pusher? What is your main motivator? What is your morning drive?
Yeah, I know it sounds so pithy for a Christian to say God, but Yeah, it's just the answer. Every morning it's a devotional, it's a cup of coffee, it's setting. If I get up early enough, it's setting down 30 minutes before Lisa gets up and gets ready for work. If not, it's 15 minutes. But knowing who you are, like why do I even care? Like that is a huge question. Like, why do I even care? And so I don't even know. Here's what's hard. Sometimes I don't even know how to find the right words to say it and explain it, except for I feel like I was given opportunity to get involved with others and be part of something bigger and give back in a way that I'm designed. You give back in a way you're designed, and we'll just go do it together. And I just really believe that God loves me enough. Like that's enough. That's all I need. Now, whether I'm happy or not will be irrelevant, but I know that his love is real. And if I'm able to get up and go today, I'm going to love my wife. I am. I'm going to love my kids. I'm going to love my neighbor if I run into you that day. I'm going to do something, or maybe it's a day I receive, but that's my motivator. Just to get in there, hang in there, don't give up. Hard fought hallelujah some days, but you don't give up. So I don't ever really feel like I have good answers on those, Logan. That question and some other question, speakers are usually a lot more articulate about those things, but it's just a hard emotion that I have, so
No, all your answers are good, and they all tie into each other too.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
your fears or
yeah,
your quotes or
yeah,
your even your music with the jelly rolls. I mean, it
yeah,
all just kind of fades in together,
yeah.
which
Let me say something. Let me say something cringy that
cringy.
that people will think is cringy. So it would be really easy, probably for you to put words in your mouth. Like, what's your motivator? Like, well, to love my wife. Like, man,
Be a
be
provider
be a
or
provider,
yeah,
and I should be a provider, a lover, a friend, a
sure.
protector. I should be all those things.
Absolutely.
But she can't be the motivator. That's too much to put on
On
her.
one person, yeah.
And then what happens?
You'll get let down.
I can't, well, I can't provide one breath for her for another day. She can't provide one breath for me for another day. I don't know. I'm not a doomsday person, but it's a fact. I don't know that I have tomorrow, neither do you. So I put things in the center of my life that can't be taken away. You can't take God away. You can't take kindness away. What you and I have been doing is called transparency and vulnerability. Transparency, we're honest with each other. We're just being transparent, just telling our stories. Vulnerability, I've given you things about my life that if you wanted to be a jerk, you could hurt me with. That's vulnerability. When you're willing to give people things in your life that they could hurt you with by making fun of you, gossiping about you, maybe use it against me when I run for elected office again about, well, hey, did you hear him say he used to have a little smoke? Right? You want to vote for that guy? Like, so that's the difference between, but you put those things in your life, integrity. Am I the same person alone that I am with you, with Lisa, with the community? Only God and I know. But put integrity in the center of your life. No one can take that away. I can't. I love Lisa. I love my community, but none of them are promised tomorrow. And I don't dwell on that every morning. But you ask me what my motivator is. I put things in my life. Can I live this out today? Let me tell you, if I have a day that I can't live it out, I'm better off to call that friend to look at my wife and say, I think I got to stay home today. I can't be my best. Like whatever this is really shaking me. Maybe I'm having a crisis of faith. My gosh, if you read the Bible, John the Baptist had a crisis in faith. He knew exactly who Jesus Christ was. He got put in jail. And then when the disciples came to see him, he goes, would you go back there and ask him if he's really Jesus? Because they're getting ready to kill me. And Jesus could stop this. So who knows if I'm having a crisis of faith that day, I probably better stay at home. Not going to be good for me and not going to be good for you, because those things in the center of my life, they mean something. That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
I say it's cringy because, you don't want your wife to say, "No, what?"
Right. But it's true.
But she gets it.
Yeah.
She understands, and she knows I'm a better lover, protector, and provider for her because I focus on the things that help our relationship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. That was a lot, man. You're probably gonna edit the heck out of
No,
that. Like
dude.
like, oh my gosh, this guy took me down, like, rabbit holes.
I won't lie to you, Tim. This is, I love all of my guests. I
Of
think of
course.
all of them so highly, but, every once in a while, I record an episode with somebody and I get in the car and I call my wife and tell her I'm on my way home. And I say, you know what? Before I hang up, let me just say that tonight is the reason why I do what I do. Like every once in a while, I just have a conversation with someone that just flows so well, effortlessly. I didn't even look at the bullet points that I had because it was just natural.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what, son of a gun, sometimes you just have a conversation with someone that just fuels your fire.
Yeah.
And this has been one of those, Tim. So thank you for that.
Well, you're an easy guy to talk to. And hey, man, if you ever get a topic, like you want to make it topical, like, hey, Tim, we're just going to be topical. We're not going to chase 10 different, rabbit holes. I'm like, you're not an expert in this. I'm not, but let's chop it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's do it. But, can I do something that you might cut out of this?
Sure. Yeah.
And you might, can I just pray for us before we go?
Of course you
Can I
can.
do that?
Of course
Like,
you
and if
can.
you, like, I respect your platform,
No,
your
yeah, of course
audience,
you
and
can.
if that's
This
just
is
weird,
your
but just
episode.
sitting here talking about this and like what you just said about driving home, I don't know, I just felt like I won't make it long, but
Sure.
would you?
Before you do that, a couple
Yeah,
things.
no, I don't want to offend you or
No, you're not
anybody, but
offending me at all.
I just felt
I'm
like, hey,
honored that you would even ask.
yeah, of
Um,
course,
Go ahead, Tim, and tell the people how to find you, how to get in touch
yeah,
with you,
yeah,
what kind of things you want to promote. I said that this might be a couple months out, so
yeah,
your next night in the box might have already
sure.
passed. But tell the people how to find you online.
Yeah, so if I have a couple of friends that make fun of me because I'll post my, whether church stuff or face up. So I feel like you have to be accountable. So if I'm going to post about, hey, come to Cross Point or Jesus this or get involved with this, I'll end it with I'm easy to find. Like I'm easy to find. So Facebook is my main mode of like social, whatever it is, these kids, social platform communication, it's where, so I have, 3 Facebook, but you're only interested in my personal one, my Night in the Box, Facebook. My third one is the little councilman. Well, it's not little because I represent people, but I have a city council page that I don't really post a lot on. So I think that's the easiest way to find me if like you just wanted to know more. And I always say I'm easy to find because if I'm encouraging you to do something, I shouldn't just be a keyboard warrior. I should be available to you. Like if you want to reach out on Messenger and say, I don't know about all this stuff, or like, I'm really going through it. Where would I go get help? Or, maybe just want to have a cup of coffee because you're like, I want to explore my thoughts. Then we'll do that. So was that all to that question, like where to find me? And
Yeah, but
I tell you what, I'm really focused on now. One of the things I'm doing is foster care because of my career changes and stuff. I'm with Mountaintop Foster Home and Mountaintop Foster Care. And I'm really working on how, not just for that child placement agency, but for all of Bartow County, how can we get more homes? We only have about 40 homes, I believe, give or take. But at any given time, we can have 70 to 100 children. So that means they're leaving the county, and that really stresses it out. So like whenever people listen to this, they gotta, you want to know more about foster care, how to get involved, and it's not just always taking kids in your home. Sometimes it's your business can do a give back on the Foster Friendly app. You may just give a 10% discount to foster families. What an encouragement that is.
sure,
Right.
sure.
So it could be that you could be a part of a care community. You don't have kids in your home, but that family does. And so, you know what? You might do their laundry once a month, or you just might be a friend and go sit with them. Whatever. There's something that you can do. So those are the things I'm doing now. You can find me there or, come downtown to, I'm in a coffee shop or something.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Guys, I'll make sure that I throw the link to Tim's Facebook in the link or in the description of the episode so that you can find him if you are interested in any or all of the things that we talked about. Tim, before we pray and get out of here, thank you for this.
Thank you.
You were vulnerable and transparent
Yeah, you
with
were
me.
too, though.
And you blew my socks off, man. I'm lucky to know you.
Well, you're great at this. I mean, I literally came in here like I had someplace I was supposed to be to pick something up at 7. My wife's gonna be, like I said, it'll be an hour. Like I look in and out, like it's quick talk, and but you're really good, like easy to talk to. Eye to eye contact. You love the folks that are supporting you. You're really curious. Have you ever read the book Super Communicators?
I haven't.
Read it.
Okay.
So you do something naturally called, it's called communication loop, where when somebody says something, you follow it and it begins to open up the conversation. Charles Duhigg is the author.
Super Communicator?
Super Communicators. Yeah. He's great. Charles Duhigg is, he has all kinds of, he's a big speaker and everything.
Yeah. I will look at
But you'll love it because you do a lot of it naturally. So you're good. So I encourage people to come on. I encourage more sponsors for you. Like whatever we could do. I appreciate your time. I wasn't in and out.
It was a great time. Just over the 2-hour mark. Look at that. Look at us.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, let's
Does anybody ever listen to a 2-hour podcast? Do you? I listen
if
to.
you're here, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do this. Hey, I just want to take a moment with my friend Logan Lewis and just like I've been talking about you and just acknowledging you in my life, and Logan, just his endeavors with this podcast, allowing people to have a platform to talk about their life. So can I just pray blessings? Like I don't have any power of my own, but I just pray blessings on him and Catherine's life, for their desires, the things that they want to do as a married couple, the things they want to do in their careers, the influence that they want to have and are having. Just want to ask you for your blessing on their life. And I just want to be grateful. Like, I just want to walk away in appreciation for this time that Logan and I got to spend together. I mean, it'd be hard to say that we're not friends after this. So I just want to thank you for that. And I always pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
God, thank you for that, Tim. That was incredible. Guys, make sure to, again, scroll down, find Tim online, support the things he's doing. Thank you for, I'm blown away by the prayer. I'm off script. Thank you to Fireworks for hosting us. Shout out to Good Days, Branded and Devoted Designs, and Hammerhead Creations for making your morning drive possible. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.